welcome back to my channel. It's Steph, and today we're going to be setting up my May pages in my bullet journal. This is again the Archer and Olive Balance A5 with 160 GSM paper, and I love the crane in the gold foil on the front. Again, a quick flip through of how April is going. I'm really loving this vibrant green and pink combination, and as you can see, some of my habits are not where they should be. I haven't done any reading, haven't really been eating too healthy. I am tracking my actions and doing my mindfulness, and I have this Dutch Door weekly that I'm enjoying. It gives me plenty of space to write down my daily tasks list, plus it lets me track the weather and my meals throughout the week, as well as workouts, and there's a space for gratitude and everything, so I can kind of journal at the same time. For this setup, I am going with kind of a painted handprints theme. May is Childhood Mental Health Awareness Month, so I'm going to be using these colors as well as a couple other ones, because off camera I do go switch to a different red and purple, but just kind of these basic elementary school acrylic paints that you would get and hand paint in class and do posters and things like that. That's kind of the vibe inspiration that I came up with. So these are all acrylographs. I ordered a bunch of them in the latest sale. I got them for like $22 a set instead of normally they're $35 or something. Anyway, on to, this is obviously the sped up process. I sped this up about 500%. It took me about an hour and a half to set up all of these pages. As I said, childhood mental health awareness is something that affects everyone. As an adult who had mental health issues as a child, I had a lot of anxiety. I suffered from insomnia. I had a lot of panic attacks growing up that went untreated for years. I finally started therapy when I was 27 to deal with the panic disorder and the PTSD and the general anxiety disorder that I was diagnosed with, and went to therapy for months, did EMDR treatment, and the panic attacks have stopped for the last 6 or 7 years, with one or two here and there. You know, certain thought processes still cause a lot of anxiety for me, but it's much better than it used to be. For this theme, I was going through like what themes there were for May, and childhood mental health awareness really jumped out at me as somebody whose 9-year-old is in therapy, somebody who's in therapy myself. Both of us have anxiety issues. You know, it's very close to me, and it's a very important topic, and I don't think that people consider it enough. I think that too many people see kids as just really strong and really resilient, which is true. Kids will adapt and they will do that, but they should also have support and be allowed to have those emotions and have the need for help as well. So that's why I really wanted to shed some light on this particular theme. And as I was scrolling through for inspiration, I came across this image of children's painted handprints made to look like flowers, like in a row, on a poster, and that's where this theme came from. So it's as if I'm using the acrylographs to make little handprints, as if kids were, you know, sticking their hand in paint and then pressing it on the page, like a classroom full of kids making a poster. And it's really not as hard as you would think it is. Like, I can't draw hands. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. I'm not an artist. I am very much just a doodler. However, I found that if you did a general shape of a palm of a hand with a thumb, you know, kind of going off the side, and then you drew semi-proportionate finger sections, and then just made it really squiggly and left a little blank space in the middle, because the palm of your hand never quite presses down when you're a kid, or an adult really. it does give the effect of just like a handprint. And some of those I colored in, and as if a kid like really pressed their hand in hard and wiggled their fingers a little bit. Some of them are more filled in. Some of them are not perfect. The thumb is too wide or too long or whatever. It doesn't matter. Once you have all of them together, even if you're not happy with one, the overall effect is still really successful. And that is always going to be a lesson that I am trying to teach my daughter. One of her stress points is when she feels like she's not doing something up to her own standards. She puts a lot of pressure on herself to be successful and to be good or great at things immediately. And teaching her, as a person who also struggles when I don't do things well the first time, teaching her to allow herself to make mistakes and to live in grace with that is, it's a big thing. So I almost make it a point to not have perfect things anymore, because I like to be able to show her, like, do you see where I messed this up? It's totally fine. It still looks great. And just show her that it's okay to make mistakes. The quote I went with is from Kate Middleton, and it is taken out of a larger speech or something that she made. But the quote I kept coming across was, "A child's mental health is just as important as their physical health and deserves the same quality of support." And for the font for this month, I went with like a kid's handwriting. Surprisingly difficult to do purposefully bad handwriting that's consistent. Like, I can scribble and use chicken scratch all day, but it's not going to look like a kid's handwriting. That was really difficult for me. But we're going to move on to the calendar spread. Jashi Corinne, when she sets up her friend Rachel's bullet journals, she started doing a 1-page mini calendar with a big space for events, and I think that would actually benefit me over the 2-page spread with 5x5 boxes where I can write things down on the actual calendar. I think seeing the events and the dates together are going to make things a lot easier. And then on the right hand side, there is some kind of a tracker. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with it. Some of the ideas are, maybe I'll write down the things my daughter and I did together to support her mental health or our mental health. Maybe it will be a mindfulness tracker, or maybe it will be a self-care tracker, or a monthly highlights, the best thing that happened that day, separate from the line a day that I do for the actions and intentions, which will be on the next page. So I'm still kind of tossing up. I have a couple of weeks still to consider what I want to do with that page, but that page is where I incorporated the actual inspiration picture and made the little hands turn into flowers. And I really like this rainbow paint color with the black contrasting it. It just makes me happy to see the black with all the rainbow colors. Question for you guys though, what would you do with this page on the right hand side? Because I could pretty much track anything I wanted to here. I'm just not sure what I want to do with it yet. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments as well. didn't want this flower scene here to be perfectly in rainbow order because I thought that would be too obvious aesthetically. I love rainbow order things, but I wanted it to be a bit more mixed up and random. Otherwise, I felt like the rainbow effect in the paints across the page would distract from the fact that they're handprints. I don't know. I felt like it would be too much to actually do it in rainbow order. Plus, since they're flowers, I didn't include a green one, which I didn't think about when I was sketching it in, and I totally ended up having to do 2 flowers the same color because I gave myself enough handprints for all the colors and then ended up not using green. That was a little quick flash to my test pages when I'm testing ideas and color palettes together and making sure that the pen I'm grabbing is the same on the paper as it is on the cap and it's the right color that I'm looking for. All that happens in the last few pages of my book all the time. I pretty much do a mock-up of my cover page ideas for every single month, just as a rule of thumb to make sure that it's not going to be a disaster. So the green bits here and what was on the poster that inspired me was it looked like thumbprints were used to make, like the thumb tip, the actual thumbprint was used to make the stems going down, and then like the side of the thumb was used to make the leaves. So that's kind of the shape that I went with in the green on this page, was to make the green be the stems and the leaves as if it was thumbprints. I misspoke a few minutes ago when I said that this was going to be my actions and intentions page. Of course, after my calendar is always going to be my habit tracker and fitness tracker, which I'm enjoying using even though I haven't been exhibiting the habits as much as I should. I definitely do enjoy the aspect of going in and seeing what workouts I am doing and seeing the steps that I'm taking each day, so that it kind of motivates me to want to put in higher numbers on days where it's not miserable outside. I like to go for walks because I know that it's gonna put me over that 10,000 steps, which is my goal every day. So one thing that's different about this one is I did separate out the habits instead of stacking them on top of the sleep and water from last month. I just kind of put them in the other page and took out what was a giant notes section, which I'm not using, so I figured it was wasted space, and so I did not include it this time. I did, however, give myself a notes section that was smaller in the lower right hand corner with the explicit intention of writing down notes about workouts, like how I was feeling, if the humidity was playing a part, that kind of thing. So you see me kind of gesturing what I'm doing here. These doodles are as if 2 people dipped the outside, their pinky finger and palm, dipped that part of their hand into paint and then made hearts with that part with their fists closed. So that's what that's supposed to look like. And I'm really happy with how they turned out. Again, as not an artist, I do think it gives the impression of the edge of a hand, which makes me happy. And then I just went with opposite colors on the color wheel. So blue with orange, red with green, purple with yellow to make those hearts. And then similar to what I did in April, except in April I used the calligraphs, and in May I'm using the acrylographs. I'm going to color in with the green color. Now that I see it happening on the video, I'm going to color in with the green color the first bar, so that I can write in my pen over top of the paint the number of steps I took. Red will be the number of miles I jog or run, more likely jog, and blue will be miles that I bike. So this is where I'm finally moving on to my intentions and actions, which this time I'm calling plans and actions, which is a term we use with my daughter whenever we're talking about making changes or incorporating new habits. We always talk about the plan of how to do that. So rather than things like intentions, we just use a different word. This one is meant to look like as if a mom or a dad or whoever made a handprint, let that dry, and then the child makes another handprint inside of it. So it's like two layered handprints, which I thought was a cute idea. I will point out that the palm of this parent hand is abnormally long and the fingers are abnormally short, but I also have short fingers, so I guess it works out. If you just do like kind of squiggly back and forth lines, and it gives it like this sketchy paint blob kind of feeling. And then I took the red, as if the kid's handprint wasn't complete, I took the red and colored it in underneath, just to kind of make it look more like it was actually layered. And then I hadn't planned on doing any doodles on the action page, but then I thought, well, I have this little cute space, let me just go ahead and throw together some fingers. So I did, or some handprints. So I did these all freehand, and actually they're some of my favorite ones. And I don't know if it's because I had the practice of the whole setup, but these ones to me seem the cutest and also the most realistic, with the little pinky fingers out at the right angle and all that. So I think that the red one looks quite a bit like it's the orange one, not the red one. The orange one looks quite a bit like the Chick-fil-A symbol, actually. And then now all I can see is little chickens. They just look like little chicken heads. And then I gave myself an enormous brain dump page this time, because I'm going to treat this kind of as a house project, summer bucket list, kind of mesh together of things. My longtime boyfriend is finally semi-retiring from work, and so he's going to be home quite a bit more, obviously, and so we'll have a bunch of things we want to get done while he has the time, and since it'll be summer break, and his oldest is graduating high school, so it's kind of his last summer before like real life, I guess. We just have a lot of things we want to do, so I figured a bigger 2-page brain dump would be the best option, a better place than spreading it out over several months or something. And I'll just kind of reference back to this page as needed throughout the summer. And then again, I just kind of freehand drew some more handprints, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. We're about to do the final flip through. If you guys made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. If you would go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you'll know when I release other content. Currently, I'm only releasing about 2 videos a month since I'm setting up my own bullet journal and my sister's bullet journal, but I would like to expand that into other bullet journaling related, stationery related videos. So again, until next time, guys, I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have a good one.